Well, hello there, Skywinders. Welcome back to another episode of Skywind 007. On today's episode, we're making a mini review of this in conjunction with this. But a user by the name HighGear145 suggested that I do a review on this with this. So that's what I'm going to do right now. So we're going to open it up. So right away, I see the big difference between using this and the Roku. Let me get the Roku. So here's the Roku that the projector comes with. So you don't have to buy this separately. It already comes with this Roku. But as you can see, it's different. So this one's going to be hanging like this, like that. When you connect it and you put it on the tripod or in the mount, the Roku is going to be hanging like that, unless you have a place to put it, or maybe just put it like that. It doesn't really stay. But the idea is that this one is going to be more, it's just going to be plugged in. Okay, so let's open it up. Okay, so this is what you get. You get the remote, you get the device right there. You get this charger right here, which you have to plug it to the wall. And then you get an extension if you need it to plug it to the device. That would be the TV or projector. In my case, it's going to be a projector. And they give you some free batteries. I'm glad that they give you this extension, because it's the HDMI port is not always reachable, and this might be too thick, so they give you something that's thinner so you can connect it. That's fine. I'm not planning on using this, so let me put it on the side. I want to put it directly to the device, but the problem is that they give you this thing, so you have to connect it to the wall. But I think they're kind of dumb, because every time you plug this into something, that device is going to have a USB port, whether it's a TV or a projector. And what most at least Roku does is they'll give you a cable which you can connect it to that port, and that way you power this with that device, and you don't have to worry about plugging this into the wall, and it automatically turns off when you turn off the TV. For example, if you have it on a TV and you turn on the TV, the USB port gives power to this and it turns on, and when you turn it off, this loses power, because the USB port loses power because you turned off the device, that being a TV or a projector. So that makes a lot more sense. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move this aside. I'm not gonna use it, and I got this cable right here, and I'm gonna use this cable where I'm gonna connect it to one of the ports on the projector, on the USB ports on the projector, and that's how I'm going to power this. So it's going to look a lot better. There's going to be a lot less cables, and I'm not going to have to worry about having a connection to the wall. So before we move on to that, I'm going to demonstrate it in a moment. I want to look at this remote, and it's a lot better than the Roku remote. Let me go get the Roku remote. It's better than the Roku remote in the sense that it does have that speech recognition right here, and I do like that the it does have volume, so that's a good thing that it has volume. And of course it has the navigation keys right here, up and down, left and right. But the main thing is this right here, the speech recognition. With this, you have to type. You have to go look at a letter like Skywind. You got to go look for the S, and then you got to look for the K, press OK. Then you got to look for the Y, press OK. Then you got to look for the W. It's a kind of a nightmare to work with this. But with this, you're just going to press this and say Skywind 007, and boom, it'll take you. Also, it has a YouTube key, because the odds are if you're going to be on a projector, you're going to be watching movies. There's not a lot of other uses for a projector than the watching movies and maybe playing video games. I'm going to do a video on that, see if it's any good, if it's a good idea. But right away, you have the two main things. You have the YouTube and Netflix. So that's the two things you need for watching video. This one has an Apple TV, which is a paid service. And I know Netflix is also a paid service, but either way, you're not going to have two. You're going to have one or the other. I can't imagine why anybody would have two. This is kind of redundant. But the odds are if you have Netflix, you're still going to want to use YouTube, because YouTube is free. Well, free. If you're gonna watch a movie, you're gonna have to either rent it or pay for it. But either way, let's get the projector and see how this connects. Okay, so far Chrome, the Google Chrome, is beating Roku in a lot of ways. Here's how Roku would be, so we're gonna take that off. I don't like this configuration right here. So let's see if Google Chromecast is a little bit more streamlined. And I know this is the on version of this, but the Chromecast is the same. So you would connect it like that, which looks a lot nicer. And of course, you get this cable, which I said it does not come with. I got this for myself. I pay for this separately. So this is how you would power it. You can either connect it on this one or this one. I'm just gonna do, I guess, that one. So that powers it. So now you have an independent connection right there. You don't have to worry about connecting anything to the wall. And then whenever you power this is gonna power up. Whenever you shut this down, this is gonna shut down. So that looks nice. That looks a lot better than the Roku. So now let's go turn it on and let's see what we get from it. I'm not going to show the sign up procedure because it has a lot of personal information, but we're just going to see if it actually works and if there's any problems with it. And we're going to see how it compares to the Chrome. We're going to see how it compares to the Roku and see which one wins. So far, this one's winning. So let's go. Okay folks, so this is the configuration I'm using right here. I'm connecting the device directly to the projector or TV, whatever you have, and I'm going to power it with the device itself. So I plugged it into one of the USB ports. So let's power it on and see. It's coming up. Okay, so there's a welcome screen, and by the way, it looks blurry, but it's not really blurry in real life. I just can't get it to focus. If I turn on the lights, it does focus a little bit better, but you can't see it too well because of the brightness. So in any way, let's proceed. Let's try to set this up. I'm not going to show you any personal information. I'm going to take that off. Okay, so here's our remote. So we have several languages. So let's just say English United States. In any case, I'm gonna select United States. Okay, so I did all the setup off camera because I don't want to show my personal information. So this is the screen where you arrive. You get to choose whatever channels you want. If you have any difficulty signing up with the app, you can do it manually. So you have two options. I did have a problem with the app. I was trying to connect to Wi-Fi and it kept saying that was the wrong password, so I had to do it manually. So don't panic, don't return the device if you can't sign up to the Wi-Fi via the app, because you can still try manually. The problem with manually is that you have to click one letter at a time. So if you have a very long password, it's gonna take a while, but you can still do it. So don't panic. So we're here. And I'm gonna choose, and I know I'm shaking a lot because I'm holding the camera with my hand. I'm doing the best I can, so I'm gonna choose which one of these channels I like. Those might just be suggestions. So now you get to do this right here. You can set up power and volume controls for your remote later in settings. So let's do that later. And by the way, it's daytime, so that's why you can't see it very well. Okay, so right now it's setting up the Google TV. It thinks it's a TV. It's not a TV, it's a projector. But okay, folks, so we are done with the update. So we are ready to proceed. As you can see over here, you get some wallpapers, and you get the temperature and the time of day. And this is what we get. So I was wrong about the Netflix. You do get Netflix. So basically you get everything you get from Roku. I can't see the difference. So let's see. So you do get Netflix, Prime, Disney, Free Play. So that's going to have a whole bunch of commercials. Hulu, Tubu, Peacock, Apple, Paramount. And you can add apps if you want. So let's look what kind of apps we have. So you have an endless supply of apps. Sling, Angel, Red Bull. I didn't know there was an app called Red Bull TV. And this goes on forever. So my biggest concern was that this Chromecast from Watch On was somehow limited in terms of apps, but I was wrong about that. So you get every app you could possibly want. Okay, so everything's the same as far as apps. And I do want to keep saying that it looks blurry on the screen that you have, but in my from my eyes this is perfectly clear. So I'm going to be watching a few films and a few trailers off camera to see if there's any difference between this device and Roku, and then we're going for the final thoughts. Okay, so the next thing I want to test is the voice to text feature. So let's see if we can look for one of the apps using the voice to text. So remember, it's this button right here. I know it's dark, so let's look for Netflix. Netflix.
Opening Netflix.
Okay, so it'll open Netflix. So let's get out. I don't want to go to Netflix. Let's say YouTube. YouTube.
Opening YouTube for Android TV.
Let's get out. So let's say Disney. Disney.
Opening Disney Plus.
Okay, so let's forget about that. Okay, so this is definitely working, and I have been using it off camera, and it does work. It has its limitations. It's not perfect. If you say something unusual, it might not understand what you're saying, but as far as everything else, it does work. I've been using it, like I said, off camera to look things up. I just wanted to demonstrate that. So it works both outside the apps, on the main screen, and within the apps. So you can use this instead of typing. Okay folks, so we have reached the end of this review, and definitely the Watch On streaming device is a clear winner over the Roku for all the reasons that I mentioned. Of course, we started out by saying that it's not hanging like the Roku. The Roku is going to be hanging. The Roku is just going to be hanging when you plug it in like that. It's just going to be hanging like that on the tripod. This one, on the other hand, connects directly to the device, which is good. Also, you can power it with the device, so you don't have to plug it to the wall, which is also good. I do want to mention that this cable, you have to get it separately. It does not come with it. What comes with it is this connection right here that you do have to connect it to the wall, which is not that great, but you can do that if you want. I just prefer it this way. So in that sense, number one, this one wins over the Roku in the configuration of how you set it up. So that's battle number one. And battle number two is the remote. Like I said, and like I said before, with the Roku you have to have these two remotes because you cannot control the volume with the Roku remote. So you have to have the projector or TV, whatever you have to have those two remotes. Like I said, you can program it to a universal remote if you have one, but you have to keep switching between Roku and device, whether it's a TV or a projector. You have to keep switching between the two. On the other hand, the Watch On, all you have to do is have this one remote, which you can program the TV's volume into this, like I did and like I showed you. And everything else, of course, this is the original remote for the Watch On, so it'll work with this. That's to be expected. But this will control the TV or projector's volume, which is great. So that's another good thing about it. Now the other good thing about this is that it does have a YouTube button. That's personally for me, like I said, and that's just my preference because I do not have Apple TV. Roku does have Apple TV, as you can see right there. And the other thing that I do like, and probably the best part, is right here, the speech to text, which lets you speak instead of typing. And like you probably already know, typing on a remote like this is very, very slow and very tedious. But when you have a speech to text, it's a lot easier. It's not perfect. There are things that it won't recognize. That's to be expected. I did use it a lot, and there were a few things that it did not recognize, but it's for the most part, it'll recognize things very easily. Now, as far as video quality, they're about the same, so you shouldn't worry about losing anything as far as video quality. So it's really not going to be about this device or that device. It's going to be about this device. Now, this is a RCA. This is an RCA $88 projector. So it's a very simple projector. It's a very simplified. It's only 720p. If you want something very, very good, you can get the I forget the names, but there's another one that's like $200 and it's 4K. This is not 4K. This is just 720p. Or you can go with a Samsung or Toshiba or Sony or one of those famous brands, and you'll get 4K and you'll get a lot more. So as far as video quality, like I said, it's not about the device, streaming device, but it's rather about the projector or the TV, whatever TV you have. So the Watch On is the clear winner right here. So if you're thinking about getting a Roku or a Chromecast or a Watch On, I would go with Google. They're very good at what they do. They know how things are supposed to work. And I couldn't think of a single thing why I would want to go with this one, with the Roku, instead of the Watch On Chromecast. I just can't think of anything. Not at all. This one beats the other two remotes in everything. And also, like I said before, it's a white color, so you can see it very well in the dark. It's not backlit, but because it's white colored like that, it's very easy to identify the buttons. And also, they're in a more natural way, the way they lay out the buttons. For example, the home key is on the center. You're going to be using that home key a lot. And of course, the speech to text is on the top right here. This is your navigation, and then you have your volume. If you had any channels, like in a regular TV, like analog TV, it would be here. But I don't think anybody does that anymore. And of course, you have your shortcuts down here, and you have your mute button. And of course, this is play and pause over here. And here's your back button. So in general, in every sense, this remote, the Watch On Chromecast, is better than Roku in everything. I can't think of a single thing why I would want to go with this one. The exception being Apple TV. If you have Apple TV and you want to have that shortcut, it's right there. So in that sense, you might want to go to with the Roku. But of course, you're going to lose a lot. You're going to lose especially the speech to text and your volume control. You're going to lose that. And then you're going to have this dark remote that it's hard to see in the dark. So in any case, thank you for watching. Subscribe and thumbs up.